Also seen a range of political reactions today after President Obama, in discussing race and the situation in Charleston, dropped the N-word in a conversation with a radio host. Here's the president with digital radio host Mark Maron.
Racism, we are not cured of, clearly, and it's not just a matter of it not being polite to say in public. That's not the measure of whether racism still exists or not.
Mark Hanna is a former aide to the Obama campaign and a partner at the Truman National Security Project. And Kevin Jackson is the executive director of theblacksphere.net and a conservative radio host. So the president was making a broader statement about race, saying, look, I always tell young people, don't say nothing's changed when it comes to race in America unless you lived through the 50s or 60s or 70s as a black man, because it's incontrovertible. Race relations have improved significantly during my lifetime and yours. So that was the context. But then he went on to say what we heard him say there. And now he's being condemned by many, including some African Americans, for actually uttering the N-word. Kevin, let me start with you. Was it inappropriate?
I think it was inappropriate, but I think that it's a word that is used in black culture quite a bit. I think, quite frankly, it was Barack Obama essentially mooning America, saying, I can say words that you no longer can say. And everybody knows that you have to say the N-word, as ridiculous as it is, because we certainly know what the word is. But I will tell you this, Donald Sterling's probably wondering why Barack Obama still has a job. I bet you Paula Deen may be wondering. There are many people out here who are saying
it's not the same thing, Kevin. It's not exactly the same thing.
No, the Donald
First of all,
Sterling
they're white, okay? And second of all, they weren't saying it respectfully.
No, but Paula Deen said it years ago, and she loses her career. Sterling really didn't say it. He just talked about black culture. So all I'm getting at is that Barack Obama says something so overtly and so easily that would have gotten most people. I mean, I'll put it to you this way. Nobody at Fox is going to say that. You're going to say the N-word.
No, most people won't say that word, which is why it was so shocking, Mark, right?
Yeah,
and it's been surprising to see, even prominent African Americans come out and say, whoa, just don't.
Yeah, I first of all, what Kevin was saying, making equivalent what the president said and explaining a history of racism, referring to racist language, not necessarily using racist language like Paula Deen did, is outrageous. And I think I wanted to just kind of watch himself keep digging in that hole. But Megyn, you're absolutely right.
Why didn't he use N-word?
I'll answer your question, Megyn. You're absolutely right. We don't expect to hear certain words coming from the lips of the President of the United States. This is absolutely one of them. And as a public figure, like you are and like he is, you have to be very careful in the words you choose. This is why last week, for example, you didn't utter the name of the shooter in Charleston, and I think that was really admirable. The president, I think, here made a deliberate calculation because he knew this would spur a national discussion about racism. I think that was his goal in doing that.
Do you agree with that, Kevin? It was intentional? The White House seemed to suggest today not really, it wasn't intentional.
I think there was some contemplation. He was very contemplative and a bit of deliberation on it. And I think that we should engage in this race discussion with him, because everything that he said about it, the systematic implementation of racism, et cetera, is basically liberalism. If you look at the things that he wants to get into a discussion about, Jim Crow laws, Democrats. We're having these insane discussions about Confederate flags. We have white women on the left who want to be. We have white women on the left who want to be black in this day and time. And Barack Obama still wants to promote the idea that we're a racist country.
Go ahead, Mark, quickly.
I think the president's point was that we've made a lot of progress where these kinds of, the focus on a word like that isn't necessary. Yeah, I do think it was. And he said there's an underlying culture and a sort of history and legacy of racial hatred that we need to confront as a country, and we shouldn't focus on the words. And I think we're obscuring that point when we have this conversation, and I think you're absolutely, Kevin, sort of taking I'm not sure whether you listened to the interview itself, but it was a stem winder. He went on and for a number of different topics. It's possible this remark was extemporaneous, but he's used the word in his book before. I think he has license to use it as a man of color.
I've never heard him use that publicly. Never heard him use that word publicly. He's used it in his book, but I've never heard him utter it.
Right.
Good to see you both.
Good to see you, Megyn.